Follow the show, twitter.com/Ryan Doyle Show. Tonight we're talking to Marc Emery. How do you like to be addressed? Because I've heard a million and two nicknames. The Prince of Pot, Cannabis Advocate, Freedom Advocate.
I was going to come up with something facetious there, like your lordship or something. I don't know. But it's funny, I've been called a lot of things. In jail, I was ultimately called the prince or princess if they wanted to be intimidating. And stuff. But no, typically everybody calls me Mark. I like being called a freedom fighter, an activist. All those things are good. They're all positive words. The Prince of Pot was given to me by CNN in 1997, and it was a worldwide broadcast. They came and did a special on me, and every other media has always picked up on it. And they sometimes say self-anointed or self-proclaimed Prince of Pot, but I don't go around saying that about myself.
It's not on like your driver's license or business cards.
Although when the DEA had me arrested, it was on my warrant for arrest. It had Mark Scott Emery, a.k.a. the Prince of Pot. And that seemed just like right out of the 30s, right?
No kidding.
You know, Pretty Boy Floyd, a.k.a. John Wilson, you know, so-and-so. I'd never seen that a.k.a. business on before, so I thought that was impressive that the DEA thinks of me as the Prince of Pot, right? So it's not just like self-proclaimed. It's like the media, Time Magazine, Rolling Stone, CNN, everybody's referred to me as the Prince of Pot because it's a good grabby type of title.
Yeah.
People pay attention, or I know that guy, even if you don't know my name, you say Prince of Pot, but I know that guy, I've seen or heard of him type of thing. So it's a useful term.
I should say you're not wearing a crown or anything to that effect.
That's right.
A few weeks back, there was a compassion club raided in the city of Toronto.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts when you originally heard the story, and what are your thoughts now?
Well, the reason they were raided is fairly trivial compared to the damage inflicted on the club. You know, they lost probably tens of thousands of dollars in product, probably scared away a lot of their clients too. It's disrupted their business. They haven't been open for weeks, and they have to pay rent and lawyers and everything like that. So, and they're a great operation. They run the Toronto Freedom Festival. They put on this march. They run a very tight ship. But what I understand was the reason for the police raid was simply because the people were smoking pot in the facility, and it was drifting into the other businesses, and they complained about the smell, and next thing you know, you've got a raid. Now, there's probably more to it than that, because there have been other activities in the city where Division 51 has raided Kindred Cafe, as well as the Calm. So it's that division that has a bee in their bonnet against the cannabis culture. And I think Neva's and Calm is run so well. It's a very professional operation, and I've known the organizer of that place for years and years, and he's a great fellow. And I hope people come and support the movement tomorrow. And I'm hoping we can walk by the police 51st Division on College as part of our march. The police always discourage that, though. They have us go down Wellesley instead of down College. And I think we should stop in front of the police department and chant a few things there for 10 minutes, let them know what 20,000 people look like on the doorstep.
Do you think, though, at that point the police would get involved and probably start maybe making some arrests or at least handing out some tickets?
Well, no, because you've got the strength of numbers. You know, the police always like to outnumber you. That's why they're always calling for backup if there's a confrontation. It's police procedure to overwhelm you with either force or numbers. But when you overwhelm them with numbers, then the law changes. All of a sudden, you can break the law if you've got the numbers to do it, right? And I've always found that interesting. If 3 or 4 people smoke a joint down Yonge Street, they'll probably get arrested or stopped and have their pot taken away. But if you got 20,000 people, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Let me ask you about the type of people that show up at these things, because the media does focus on
they're young people,
the hippie culture.
Yeah,
You look very well dressed tonight. You've got the glasses on, the whole bit. I believe you when you're talking to me. I believe that you're invested in the cause. There are other people that the media portrays, and they're always the ones that get on the news footage as, you know, hippies and people who just have nothing else to do with their life but sit around and smoke pot. Talk to me about the difference between the two images.
Well, the thing is, young people with nothing to lose are going to show up at these rallies. The people with something to lose don't show up, and a lot of people have something to lose. Like, for example, if you've got a child and people see you at a marijuana rally, they're going to wonder, well, what's that child seeing at home? Are you smoking marijuana around them? Are you growing marijuana? All of a sudden, a lot of people start asking questions about your lifestyle just because you showed up at a rally and were seen on television, perhaps, or someone you work with saw you, or any number of things. So anybody in a bank, any teacher, if a teacher shows up at a marijuana rally, there's going to be a lot of questions about that. So they could lose their job. Bankers lose their job. People in the civil servants lose their job. Police officers lose their. So a whole bunch of people can't show up at these rallies for fear of being segregated, ostracized, and punished for just that decision to show up at a legal rally. They don't even have to be seen smoking pot. But imagine a teacher holding up a sign saying legalize marijuana or end marijuana prohibition. Well, that principal is going to have a discussion with him as soon as he gets back to school and starts teaching. So it's very, very awkward for professionals and people with some kind of life with children, as a parent, as a teacher, as a person with responsibilities, as employees, a businessman. These people can't show up to this rally. It's a very serious thing when you get a criminal conviction. Every businessman needs to go to the United States. And if you've got a criminal conviction for just possessing pot, you're not going to the United States anymore. Well, you'll probably be fired by any business that needs you to go to the United States for any number of things. So that means you can't be in insurance. It means you can't be in trucking. If you've got a conviction for pot, you cannot be a trucker in Canada. Not even just in Canada, because every company here has to have a mutual agreement with going to the United States. So all of a sudden, every kind of lifestyle is subject to punishment if they just show up at a legal rally.
Mark, you've been kind enough to agree to stay on for an extra segment here because we still got a lot of stuff to cover, including Barack Obama. We're going to talk a little bit about medical marijuana and the future of where all of this movement goes and where you see it going. We're going to do that next with Marc Emery. I'm just going to call him Mark. I'm not going to even give him the fancy title. He's a cannabis advocate, though, and he'll be back with us in just a second as the Ryan Doyle Show continues.